Grandiose greetings, beautiful and grand modulations on this beautiful morning for you, my star seeds. You have come here not by coincidence. You have come here by providence, prominence, coincide. Extremes will coexist and eventually meet. That's why we're here. And for the festivities, and for you, I like it galactic. That's why I do the things that I do. But I speak clear, unbroken, unmistakably, deadpanning in your direction. Following reason is this is the Ascension program, if you haven't heard. For those that are new to the channel, please, if you like the vibe, join your tribe. I enjoy the peace that is here. Mind you, this is nature. Yes, in part we do need electrical devices to communicate every now and then the message of balance. And this is this transmission in case some of you feel utterly lost, or those who have a sense of a direction, to give you an orientation to not drift so far. So in Kung Fu, this avatar has learned to hold the center. As the center screen where I move, the way I hold myself or carry myself, I'm trying to not be moved from that. Others call it the vortex. The center point of the gravitational axis of your heart, which is the center of the toroidal field, is actually the zero field. The only problem why things go haywire is because people decide to leave the center and they think they can, but that's a risk factor. It's like the center is thick ice and leaving the center is thin ice. But we're not learning. So as you see in the display in the media, whether it's Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid jab, whether it's Russia, or a stage noodle that turns into smackaroni, we are too occupied with things that derail us from the center point of ourselves. So the reason why I'm relaying this message to you is we gotta do better. What is reincarnation? Why do we incarnate? Besides galactics coming, help to assist to raise the frequency and raise the vibratory state of individual human beings, is that souls, some are earth incarnates, they have nothing to do with galactic, they don't believe in ETs, they think it's a bunch of woo-woo. Even science has overwhelming evidence of spooky action in the distance, like things that we can't explain that take place. As we pay attention, we'll see more and more will come to the surface. I have an example of a video that I spotted, and it really makes you think. Like, you have to really use your brain now and make a choice. And I give a few examples to turn you and switch your systems on. One is, you heard of the LiDAR diode, which scans objects in the environment, whether they are emanate heat or their geometry or they're moving. And you can do it with your iPhone, and let's say a pedestrian walking by, and your iPhone will show an image of a mannequin walking by. You see the person, boom. Tesla, these Tesla cars have the same thing. This is an example that's important. This is for you to really, I find it interesting that we need that to show that to us, but in case you don't have sight, you don't see ghosts, spirits, or other dimensional faculties, a guy with a Tesla has the screen on. The screen is linked to a computer and a bunch of diodes in the front of that Tesla car. That Tesla, which amazed me, I drove one once, shows you the traffic. It sees a car. When you stop at the traffic light and people cross the street, you see people, as in computer figures, that the car sees crossing the street. Amazing technology. So it pays attention to what is in close proximity, as in moving objects. It might be LiDAR and other diodes that pick that up. Now, but what do you do when, and this is what I've seen, and I'll urge you, if you have a Tesla, do it. The guy has a Tesla and drives up close to a cemetery. Like from the parking lot, it's directly the graves, there's no walking. And the monitor shows beings walking around. As you see the monitor on the cemetery, guess what? You don't see anybody. But yet the computer, the scanning system of the Tesla, shows blipping in beings at certain grave sites, either standing or walking, coming in and out. Well, what does that tell you? I don't have to say more. You know, we have technology where we can look into those things. There are also crystalline particulates. Maybe NASA has that. They say that the military has technology that's probably 50 to 100 years ahead of us, with batteries that last like 3 years, phones that don't need recharging and whatnot that we don't know. So I always say be humble. There's a lot that we don't know. There's a lot that you and I do not know. You know why? If you haven't experienced it, you do not know, quite simply. That's why we have left the age of belief, to be naive, to lie to the feminine aspect of intuition and shut it down and say, well, I promise you paradise after death. But the original mission is as in heaven, so on earth. Meaning, and I say this precisely, a rapper named Five Dog from the group called Tribe Called Quest said, I never let a statue tell me how nice I am. Think. KRS-One, another rapper, said, if its meaning doesn't manifest, put it to rest. Example is, like, if an ascended master appears to you and tells you the powerful things of what he is, and there's no change in significant tools or applications in your life, question your vision. I seen a video of a young woman that just found a new religious belief system, very sick. The Holy Messiah appears and says, I am the truth, I am all there is. And she wakes up the next day still sick. Question your vision. Now here comes the radical display of my experience. So I spoke to a contactee named Alberto. I don't even know if he's on camera anywhere. Anyway, I went to a UFO Congress. And this is where I make the distinct difference between observation and experience. And we got to get out of this delusional state of assuming. If you don't know, you don't know. If you have experience, you can integrate the experience into now I know because I have experienced, and you can't unknow or undo that. So Alberto, away from things we worship outside of ourselves, you should be worshiping yourself. The temple is your body. God, body, Elohim, within, eternal. It says in the Gattaca Code, Hebrew letters translate that, read the book, the God Code. That's already fact. So Alberto has an experience. The guy has a lump in his chest. You know, the doctor says, you know, we need to operate. We don't know if it's an aggressive tumor or not that aggressive. I don't know the terms here. He was sick and he had a lump. His dog was, I don't know, 15 years old, in dog years, very, very old, gray and hardly getting up. And Alberto was like, yeah, I'm probably thinking I'm going to put this dog at some point to sleep so the suffering ends. Here is the miraculous experience. And with tears in his eyes, he tells me, and I feel people. So I say, what he was emoting was experienced, because he went through the experience from an emotional point of view. Craft appears in the backyard. Golden bright lights. Beings appear in the living room. Contact was made. Nothing of the worship me, pray to me, I'm the all-knowing truth, all of this religious, mythological stuff that we can get lost in, because if you have nothing that can manifest from spirit to matter, you have actually nothing. And this is what the shaman does, the shaman. We're bringing spirit to matter. Otherwise you have nothing and you have no anchor point. Now here comes the grounding aspect. The next day Alberto wakes up and feels better. Notices a pickup, a life force. He looks at his dog. Dog is not gray anymore. He has pictures of this dog today. I mean, if I meet him again at a congress, I'll probably take a picture if I can, if the dog's still around. Should be. And he goes to the doctor. The lump is gone. The dog is 20 years younger. The veterinarian is like, I don't know, what did you do? What are you feeding your dog? Your dog is like age reversed. So they can't do that. So lump disappears, dog is 20 years younger, the grass grows, bees and birds, everything is in the backyard, everything is enhanced in the toroidal field in and around this guy's life. I don't question that contact. Now I'll give you a distinct difference between the crafts. There might be military craft that looks like ship, spaceship. There might be like a breakaway civilization that lives in Earth that have crafts too. They can fly, they can do maneuvers, very impressive, but they're not as advanced as the interdimensional crafts that I also as well have witnessed. You got to watch my video about the Mount Shasta contact. I've seen an interdimensional craft 40 feet away from a group of 9 people. I've interviewed one that came to us, gave us downloads, made contact. You can basically see through the craft, but you can also look at the craft. You feel presence around you, but you couldn't see them. And presence announced, you're not quite ready yet, but when you're ready, we will make an appearance. So it takes a lot of to be not meshuggah, or go narish, as they say, to handle an interdimensional personality that has a love aspect and a sense of clarity and a psychic sense of seeing through you, knowing all about you and your past lives, that you can even stand in front of them without getting weak in the knees. Linda Moulton Howe explained that these trained soldiers couldn't stand in front of those beings. They'd faint. Because if you're a caveman and a galactic presence comes, it's very tough when these two cultures meet. It always is. So again, religion, rely on jinn. Relying on spirits outside of yourself is always iffy. That's what religion is based on. Religion can be misused. We have 470 villages that believe that their God is the ultimate God. This can't be, it's a fragmentation. There's only one source, it's the law of one, and it's not gender-based. Also understand that. Those who want to read the law of one. There are principles in the universe that can't be overwritten. There are things and laws and physics that are and have yet to be found. So it is a khaki of professors like this guy Neil have. Usually I don't use names, I don't want to use names. They're cocky with it, what they think they know. What science has the opportunity now is read Vedic texts about atomic structures. Einstein read that. Probably Tesla did that. They talked about spirits in circular motion and form that have a formation that give them a certain name, like selenium, germanium, gold, like fractally painted in scriptures that are 10,000 years old. That's called occult science, meaning knowing the alchemy. We're playing catch up here with science and a hadron collider, and we're trying to smash stuff to figure out what is the stuff made of. But my suggestion is maybe let's not collide things to figure out who the manufacturer is. Maybe opening up the mind to venture deeper into the scenario of the makeup of this holodynamic matrix. That also every molecule, everything that has a name that is a sphere is actually a photon. It is a holodynamic holon. So the Arcturians that are in contact with me explain to me, meaning that is not a massless particle. It actually has mass. Every dimension, in order to be perceived, needs mass. It needs something that governs it, such as Metatron, which is not an archangel, it's a governing force of molecules in alignment when everything is in order, as in your Merkabit field, atomic structure, subatomic quarks. And now science has announced, I think the BBC, that they found another force, that there's another force besides dark matter. Yes, we will find more things that spark the mind, that'll teach us even more things. But we can learn so much more if we blend the occult, the unseen, with what we know in science and learn from it. Not like blind mice electrically putting components together and iffy formulas to figure out time and space in the vacuum. Also, the extraterrestrials have explained to me there are two types of vacuum. The one vacuum is the vacuum in space where there's a void of oxygen. There's no resistance. Light moves the fastest in a vacuum. The Egyptians knew this, that light moves the fastest in a vacuum. That's why my technology works, because I know that photons in a vacuum move the fastest and accelerate the fastest. Storage capacity is accelerated. That's why my pendants work. It's based on that principle, not trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to go with what already was given in this technology. We have also an announcement to make, the first rollout of that what you call Medbed. I call it the cell well. It has been done. Soon there will be more information of how to get sessions and treatments. So you can say extraterrestrial and Atlantean technology is on this planet. It's being reactivated and rebooted through us. It has to do with the revealer of the seventh ray. This book explains how certain scientists or scientific minds are chosen by certain gateways to channel in certain information that only they can, because they have the allowance and the blessing to activate that. What does that mean? Back then, the interstellar priests that would activate the pyramids were the avatar component as in the key component to turn on the resonance to make things work. Well, how does that work? Or what do I mean by that? When Tesla has built the magnetic motor, by the way, also the first battery-driven car, I think like 120 years now. Battery-driven car. We could have been further than we are right now. If you want to look at this first battery car, it's in the, I think, Technological Museum in Berlin. You see this old chariot with a battery that is, I mean, this high, I mean, big, I don't know, maybe a 3-mile range or whatever. So things took place that we didn't know. Why don't we know? Because we don't inform ourselves. There are things that are already at play, taking place in technology, being revealed. There's no suppression going on because we're not even playing into that paradigm anymore. So they find out now that a new solar cell system consists of pyramidal crystals that charge and absorb and center more light than the regular crystals that are out of order. So of course everything that it is moved from chaos into an orderly structure will be more effective in technology. We will learn that. So, as they say, we will know who's who by the fruits of their labor. So watch at what people build. Look at what works. I say, people, hey, you have a motor, it works, cool. So back to the Tesla motor, because I can go from the mosquito to the mojito. They replicated the magnetic motor. Didn't miss anything, turned the thing on and didn't work. Nobody gets it. You know, then Tesla looks at it, touches it a little bit, turns it on, it works. Turns it off, people go back and they touch it and it doesn't work. I'll give you another example how this works. The inventor makes the thing work because he brings in the blessing that is already in resonance to work. Otherwise, this won't work. So when people want to replicate stuff that is not theirs, it might be faulty or do not work. So here's another thing. The Tesla motor was replicated by people that believed, a religious group in the Swiss Alps, It's a famous story, but it's from the 70s. So they had this big wheel, and the magnets on the wheel, and the magnetic components, and it's not self-perpetuating, but it would run like 600-700 years before the magnetic field would drop. So the wheel was spun, the motor produced energy, and from that electricity, that society in the Swiss Alps lived. So then a lot of press was like, yeah, we don't believe it, this is a hoax, this is a seller to get people to join your sect, and we don't believe it. And so they opened the gates and said, okay, you can look at the machine, but don't adjust, touch, or do anything, but you can film it, you can interview us, we will display that this thing works. So the machine, after 3 months of non-believers coming with their hate and their disbelief added, stopped working. Why is it that I am not surprised that this thing stopped working? So if you create, this is a quantum realm, if you create a non-belief strong enough with enough people, well then it won't work. Reason why we don't levitate is it's in our gene code, it's a hidden city. The Vedas, maybe the Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, and other books talk about that these CDs will be developed when you are righteous enough. I mean, some people say, like, you know, if you ascend if you stay pure for 13 days. I'll say this, your ascension process will be a nicer process when you speak winged words, think positive, act positive, thought management and and mental hygiene is up to par. And you keep it clear. Every now and then fasting, intermittent. Not all the time. So don't deprive your body of energy. You're not a guru that can go into samadhi and has achieved the breathless state where the heart stops and it can come back. You're not that developed yet. And I don't suggest to do ruckus with your vessel. Do with the vessel what the vessel has the capacity of doing, not more. So if you have a certain eating structure and you get sick, stop it, change. Look at your blood type and how you're eating. So I advise for the star seeds in this orientation also. Right now we're being tested hard. We're being smacked with everything there is. Don't fall for it. You got to keep it moving like I do. You got to continue. You got to stay out of trouble. You got to stay out of the false light matrix of how many likes and followings you have when these are not your supporters, as in your business, that you can actually pick more apples and pay more apple pickers to bring more to the market. We have to, like they say in hip-hop, keep it real, or real recognizes real. So if Einstein talks to Tesla, basically these two would recognize each other's intellect. But there's so many people out there hiding behind imaginary lifestyles that they're not living, taking pictures and stuff and things that they don't do. There's more than the material world. Material world is not wrong. It's not wrong to be materialistic, because what does material mean? Matter, I, all. Like spiritual, spirit, you all. You all are spiritual beings making a spiritual experience in a human vessel. Material is the matter, as in the mother, that comes from the earth, is produced from earth, comes from the mother, will always be feminine, no matter how they try to contort this with Luciferian technology and whatever, and misuse and abuse since the fall of Atlantis. Our energy will change, and our fight and hunt for oil, gas will stop the minute free energy is released. It's the war on consciousness. And the war is in the astral realms. Many of you wake up in the morning with black and blue bruises, and I wonder what ship did pick you up. And we're all getting picked up. We're all not having the awareness. Now imagine we're like these hedgehogs that are blind somewhere in the ground, and sometimes a hand reaches down, picks us up. You know, the positive ones, they do exams with us, they pick us up and they check us and they reinsert us, and it's okay. But there are negative ones that dabble with it, and we're trying to, you know, extrapolate and move them out of here. So no longer is this supported. And we're not saying all draconians or reptilians or lizards are bad. Those that are here to redeem themselves, ex-Anunnaki, whatever you are, to make it right, ex-Mardukian inheritance, Rasha and Rafa and the kids and all those gold and diamond mines. If you know what's on the karmic spectrum, you act accordingly, and you do that quick. Because when you move on and you transcend this year, there is a bill coming, and it's not going to be funny. So there's no more getting away with BS. BS means belief system, like as in false light matrix belief system. If you're going into the wrong direction, guess what? It doesn't matter if you Zen Buddhist that says there is no wrong direction. There is a wrong way, meaning there is a destructive way. There's a way that incapacitates the soul from ascending properly. There is a way when the spirit does not ascend. I explained that in my video, the difference between 3D and 5D. And we're not there yet, because 5D is like instantaneous miracles happening. And it's going to be a bleed over, and it'll take time. To see other worlds, watch the movie Tomorrow World, just to see dimensionally how this could be connected. It's a frequency away, but as long as you have not mastered the frequency, you have nothing. So a lot of people that have squat are living in an illusion. So let's go to the wellness factor. I spoke to a relative of mine, and she said, every fall I'm getting my Kool-Aid jab, and I'm fine. So I ask, question, is that healing? Well, my doctor says it is, and so I believe my doctor, he's the expert. He follows protocol, and that's it. So nothing outside of protocol, it's just the automated rhyme timing. So now I say, when you stop taking your Kool-Aid jab in fall, what happens? I get as sick as a dog. I'll be in bed 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm saying, okay, so you haven't healed. You depend on that Kool-Aid jab. To make your own choice. Now, another person says, yeah, I saw this healer. I went into alternative medicine. It took some time. It was some alchemy. I had to look for it and I had to search. And it took quite some time. But I found a tea that I'm drinking and do some workouts, and my sciatica has stopped, which I had for 30 years. So which is your choice? You should follow. And then are those with the, you call them cognitive dissonance, that would say, yeah, well, that's 1 out of thousands of cases, you know, I don't know what they're selling these people. I'm like, well, I saw this case with Dr. Bruce Lipton. They had a study case where they kind of fixed people that were actually listed for chemotherapy, and they all took linseed oil, as in flaxseed oil. None of them had to go to chemo, no relapse, no cancer coming back. Well, is that making sense to us? Or are we still too... Cognitive dissonance means that you're programmed by whatever powers that be to not believe, whether you have the truth in front of you or not. You can't accept it. And then that's where gods fail to fight stupidity. Another one, 49 people. I watched this guy on TED Talks talking about mushrooms. 49 people where, and I'm not making claims, I'm just giving you an observation and an opinion. And this is about common sense right now. To anchor your galactic self into this vessel so you understand this is here, not a dream space, or I'm assuming, or maybe, or oh, I can go to theta and I can heal my parasites. If I take you to a lab and I do a live blood analysis under a dark field microscope and I still see parasites in your blood, that means you're full of illusion. And we want to kill that. Not kill, integrate, that you realize where you are. Real on ice. So, 49 people, several stages of cancer, pictures not looking so good. One person is the mother of a guy who is into these mushrooms, and he finds turkey tail mushroom. $7 on eBay. That's where our consciousness is. And he makes his mother take it. And I think he said 95% of those people in the course of 5 years died. No recovery. Mother is alive, is in her 90s, keeps taking turkey tail mushroom. So science has found out that turkey tail mushroom, in particular, attacks cancerous cells, goes for the parasite and deletes it. But you got to keep taking it. And it's $7. But we have 500 million views to watch a smackaroni show that is funded by suspicious people. So we need to wake up. We need to come to our term with where we are and what we do so we can ascend. And on that note, most certainly will see you on the flip side. Peace and blessings. Don't sleep. Stay alert. Because the greatest level of protection on this planet is what? Awareness. That's all she wrote.